And I want to start off regarding the cricket. And Mike, I appreciate you joining us tonight because I know John, Scott, and I all have our experiences with that venue, but you've had a little bit more. Um, my big thing is regarding the cricket. It was for metal bands played there, but it was open for all sorts of styles. But out of for Buzz Bomber and the M80s, to me, you guys were like the flagship of that joint. What was your journey like with dealing with Brian and all that? How did it begin?
Well, it was actually pretty easy. I started out in kind of a hippie band from Greeley, and Brian gave us our first gig way back in 1990 or 91.
Wow.
But when I met Buzz, he and I joined a band called Bent,
Hmm.
and clearly that band wasn't doing very well. But Brian would book anybody who wanted to play, and so we started out on a Tuesday night at like 11, like most people, and um, he was always very gracious and open to book anybody. I mean, even if you wanted to get up there probably with a pot and a spoon to
Hmm.
perform about a half an hour, you could do that.
Right.
But he gave us our chance, and Bent didn't last long before we formed the M80s band.
Right. Okay.
But
Would
he
you
was always welcome, and he was always eager to have anybody, and that's how we started.
There,
Yeah.
there's two personalities there. I personally did not really interact much with, but what were your experiences with Denver Joe and Bags Patrick, who did the open stage on Sundays?
Oh, I knew Bags from years before I even saw him at the cricket.
Hmm.
Um, he would do an open stage at the Mercury,
Okay.
and he was kind of a ham himself.
Right.
I I assume he's still around, but I don't see that he's performing or anything. Joe became a good friend of ours, especially Buzz. Him and
Right.
Buzz were real close buddies. Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. Now, reason baby Bags Patrick actually played with Gil Martin from Offering 74, I think
Yeah.
2 months ago, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
no kidding. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it was a Facebook post, but you know, I'm going to ask you, Mike. It's like because Brian booked the bands, and it just like, did he have a rhyme? Did he have a theme for a certain day of the week, or did he just wing it? What do you know about that?
I think he just winged it.
Right?
Yeah, I think
Because
if he had the time, he'd book you.
right.
That's probably what made that place great because a lot of bands like King Rat and the rest of you guys probably
Mhm.
got our start at that place at
Right.
cricket.
Now,
I don't think he was uh, under any discretion for any kind of theme night. The only one I can think of was Mondays with Denver Joe.
right.
Yeah.
And I never did a night with Monday Joe. Was it just him? You know, just him? He just played until the cows come home? What went on there?
No, he had Dick and Lois,
Okay.
Uncle Dick and Aunt Lois. They weren't actually his relatives, but
Hmm.
Lois was at one point a member of the Grand Ole Opry. She was a bass player.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and she had been featured on Buck Owens's TV show in the 60s many
Mm.
times.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and Uncle Dick was he was a good writing himself. You know, he did
Right.
very well himself. So they would open.
Hmm.
It was him and it was Dick and Lois and a drummer. Sometimes my drummer Merle from Buck Wildwood was their bass player or drummer, I mean.
Okay. All right.
And so if they would, the three of them would open, and then Joe would come up after a set and finish out the night for a couple hours.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now, with the M80s, when would you consider was your prime time, the peak of your band? Would you say late 90s, early 2000s?
Um, I think when we recorded Mr. Grinch
Hmm.
in '96, we ended up on regular airplay on like KBPI and the other stations as a holiday thing.
Okay.
And that really launched us, and we just kept going until early 2000s.
Right.
We just kept writing, and Buzz was such a genius at writing those hilarious songs,
Right.
and we had a hand in those too on occasion. But
I believe that. Well,
yeah,
I
but
like
I
to.
think it was our stage show that
Right.
got people captivated. Yeah,
Well, in the event people don't know, Buzz Bomber would play a Gibson SG
yeah,
starting the show, then he'd strip down to a 2-2 halfway through the set. He
yeah.
would be wearing a pin.
To the tune of "Little Dead Surfer Girl." That was the striptease act. Yeah.
That oh I thought he did that during the Jerry Springer show song.
No, it was always during "Little Dead Surfer Girl."
Was it okay? All right. I appreciate the correction on that.
No, yeah.
Now, here's my question. After Nights of Headline, did the Buzz Bomber and the M80s consider the cricket kind of like their home, kind of like the home base? And if you played at the Lions Lair, you played at Herman's, doing that. Was the cricket the place you really wanted to be?
I think that would, I think you'd be safe to say that was probably our headquarters. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now, did anything happen at the cricket after hours?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. Indulge.
Oh, a lot of times, well, there was Nicolo's Pizza next door.
Right.
And after hours, Nicolo's would bring over a bunch of pizzas, and uh, Brian or Chris or whoever seemed to be manning the place,
Mhm.
we would stay there till sometimes even 7 a.m. eating pizza,
What?
eating
7
pizza
a.m.?
once or twice
Holy,
till 7 a.m. Yeah.
holy shit.
It was always a freaking party, man.
Right. Now, as I said, I was not a participant in any of that. But you know, did unfortunately Luke had two sets to play tonight, but
Right.
what is your take? What is it that you heard that he almost got killed at the cricket?
Um, well, I guess it's safe to talk about now. Our
Right.
drummer Jack Shit happened to be there that night, but he left before all this happened. There was an instance where Sharon Rawls, rest her soul, was she used to do an annual AIDS benefit, and
Hmm.
that always took place at Herman's Hideaway.
Okay.
But cricket allowed her to flyer the cars in the venue to promote that particular benefit.
Hmm.
And uh, so Sharon had left some promotional items on some of the motorcycles that pulled in that night.
Hmm.
Well, that was during a Denver Joke show,
Hmm.
and um, um, anyway, these bikers, whoever they were, I guess, a member of a certain motorcycle group that I don't really know, because I could
Hmm.
definitely not verify the name of
Right.
this particular group. But Luke ended up getting severely injured during that scuffle when
Hmm.
these guys attacked Denver Joe and the band and the audience.
That's insane.
It was pretty terrible.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
the weird thing is I called Luke 2 days later.
Hmm.
I expected one of his roommates or whatever to answer, but it was Luke. And he's, oh, hey, man. But his injuries were probably very life-threatening. It was very severe.
Right. And Luke, at some point, he's gonna, obviously he's gonna share his narrative on what went down on all that. But what
Yeah.
would you consider, aside from Brian at the cricket, what was your relationship with the staff there and Jeff Johnson and all that?
I consider Jeff probably the best sound man I've ever worked with.
You do not stand alone there. I think all of us can say we saw Jeff behind the, behind the dials. We were pretty comfortable, right?
Yeah, I'll agree.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
Yeah,
still got his business card that says JAJ Sound. Plain white. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
He was phenomenal. He was all whenever you needed him, he was right there.
Was he a drummer?
Was he what?
Was he a drummer?
Um,
I don't know who, I
I
don't know.
want to say he dabbled with bass, but don't quote me on that. I'm not
Okay.
Right,
sure.
Yeah, I don't know what Jeff played, if he played anything.
Yeah, I'm not
right,
sure.
And the only reason I bring that up is because the drummer that I got involved with in the first band that I was in out there, his first name was Jeff, and we used to schlub. I mean, he had these gigantic bass bins, and I mean, fucking McNichols Arena quality sound gear that he would take into these small clubs and just fucking melt people's faces off. But I can never remember what his last name was, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't Johnson because I remember that dude from the cricket.
right,
I couldn't verify that either. We always just knew him as Jeff.
right.
Yeah.
Now, what was the most bizarre kind of person that, Mike, that you saw at the cricket? So the cricket attracted everybody. That's good and bad. Was there a certain person or a certain experience that stood out?
Oh God.
While you're on that, hey Murray, we kind of got started a little bit early on cricket on the hill, so just roll with us in progress, sir.
All right, man. Hey, John.
Murray,
Good to see you, man. You look good.
it's good to see you, my friend.
All right, I'm just
Um,
listening. I'll get in.
All right, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
oh, I would have to say the biggest character was probably Denver Joe,
Okay,
but there were some audience members. One guy's name was Louis,
right,
who was just, oh, well, there was Maris the Great, of course.
Yeah, I
right.
was going to say Maris.
Cannot
I was
forget
like,
Maris.
we'll talk about Maris come February. He'll be
Oh,
joining us.
okay. Yeah.
So by all means, that thing on February with Maris, I expect quite a few people turning out for that. But
I'm
anyways,
sure.
what was your experience? I would say, did you know Heather Dalton?
Oh, I still do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Heather Dalton was a big personality at the cricket. Wasn't she with Mike from Babyhead?
Yeah, and I actually played for Babyhead briefly.
Did you really? So you knew Bill
Yeah.
Houston?
Yeah, when Bill wasn't, I think Bill was out of state, and they asked me to play a couple shows with them, which I did.
Right.
Mike and
Okay.
Heather were an item for quite a while.
Yeah, they were. And
Yeah.
well, the big thing I'm curious is that, Babyhead was such a success. Why did they split?
I don't know. I think, well, Mike went on to, I don't know if you know, he just won a national journalism award.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He's Michael De Johanna is his
Mhm.
name. Yeah, he just won like the Edward R. Murrow Award or something like that.
Hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
And
Wow.
I saw him on I see him on like uh pretty mainstream weekend, like I don't I don't please don't quote me. Something
I
like
won't.
60 Nightline, 60 Minutes, something like that.
Right.
So he went on to do very big things for himself. Jim Voltner, I'm not sure.
Right.
Bill, I have no idea.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I was just
And
curious I was just curious because, they had such a big, it's like the show I went and saw them when it was just jam packed. I just found out it was just a reunion. I'm like, these guys are pretty damn good. But um,
I
how
was at
much,
that show. Yeah.
how much, Mike, when the cricket closed in 2008, how much of that factor was on the smoking ban, in your opinion?
Um, uh, let's see, when was that band?
2006.
I wasn't playing there. Well, I was playing there with Rex.
Right.
Um, there was a smoking ban, yeah, but people would gather in the parking lot out back or out front.
Right.
Sometimes they didn't care and lit up anyway.
Right. Sure. So, we're going to shift this off just a second. John, do you remember Bill Terrell's birthday party, 2003? You guys did Judas Priest covers. Remember that?
I do remember that. That was it 2003?
It was 03 or 04, one of those two.
Okay. Well, yeah, I remember. I think Rogue played United and another thing coming.
Hmm. It's just kind of like I don't know why people chose the cricket. I didn't mind it. I went to it. I had a good time. But I will say this, and everybody's welcome to chime in. Mike, we'll start with you. I think the cricket to me, was a was a was a unique combination of atmosphere, location, and just an energy I'd never ever experienced anywhere else. What say you?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely.
Right,
It was like our drummer Jack said once. He said it's all about going out on a Friday or Saturday night, drinking up, listening to good music and having a good time, and everybody did.
right,
There was rarely a problem.
right,
Yeah.
right. But as I said, it's like, Mike, you and you had many nights there, and I'll just say this: if I could turn back time for one night, it would be at the cricket, Buzz Bomber, King Rat, and Offering 74. That would just be it. That would be a good time I would happily relive and enjoy, no
Uh,
doubt.
we loved it. We all had a really good time.
Right.
Really. We were all very good friends too.
Well, go on. All right. Does anyone have any comments about the cricket? Anything they want to share? Anyone?
I got a short one.
Go do
I
it.
mean, I, I didn't have the experience that a lot of bands did. Coming from not being from Colorado, when we started going in '96, uh, by the summer of '96, we were going full steam ahead, and we're even starting to make merch, and we couldn't get a gig in Denver. And
Hmm.
my biggest memory of the Cricket was just they were the first venue in Denver to give a no-name band a gig. And we played like a Thursday night in, I don't know, I think it was March of '97. And
Hmm.
by then we had had a like a demo for 6 months.
Hmm.
I'd shopped it around to every venue I could think of, and we finally got a gig. It was a Thursday night. We brought like two people,
Hmm.
so that wasn't great, but it was, in fact, the first two shows we ever played in Denver was at the Cricket.
Right.
So that's my biggest memory. And then, after we started to get established, we played there a few times. We were never like a cricket band, but we did fine. Um, it was always a comfortable place to play, easy to get in and out of, I guess. I don't remember any problems with it.
Right.
Uh, but yeah,
Right.
they're the first place in Denver to give us a chance. So
Right.
that's my only uh contribution to it.
Right. I understand. Okay. All right. Now, in regards to the cricket, we'll move on to the Lions layer. Michael, we'll start with you, because I'm sure Buzz Bomber did Lions layer too, right?
Oh, a lot of times, yeah.
Okay. Now, what do you was the distinct difference between the cricket and the Lions layer? Because personally, the Lions layer for me, I went there once and it wasn't very eventful. But but the Lions layer, some people found it very endearing. Can you explain why?
Um, well, the owner, Tom, what was his name that owned the Lions Lair? Him and Brian were good friends.
Okay.
They were competitors, but we found the Lions Lair uh, just about as accommodating as the cricket was.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can put it. And um, the weird thing was at cricket, I know stuff happened where police were involved, but there were
Mm-hmm.
police. There was an off-duty cop named Pete that would
Mm-hmm.
come and work off duty or whatever
Mm-hmm.
um, in uniform to do security for the Lions there when we played. And his name
Right.
was
Did Pete work the Bluebird too?
Pete. That's what I'm talking about. I think he
Yeah,
did.
I think I know Pete. Yeah, Pete
Kind of
was a
a
really cool security guard. He'd even wave his hand, no thank you, when the joint went past him instead of arresting us.
that's yeah, a little red-haired guy about 5'7" or 8. Yeah. He but it was funny because whenever we had any technical issues, Pete always had a toolbox. And he would come up on stage and help us a couple times fix whatever was not working regarding an amp or whatever. So that was really cool. But the Lions Lair crowd was um I think they could be sometimes a little more critical than the cricket crowd could be, but generally we didn't experience that. But I kind of saw it with, some other bands. It was a little tighter ended, maybe, if that sounds, but it was the same kind of accommodation, the same good time. I do remember when Buzz and I think we got roofied there once. Because I remember I had 3 beers when I was up on stage, and next thing I knew, I'm looking around. It was like looking through a fisheye lens, and the next morning I was sicker than a dog. And Buzz called me with the same symptoms. And
Oh, boy.
apparently we were half crocked up there, having hardly drank anything more than a few beers.
Right.
But and we don't know who might have done it if it happened. Our drummer was fine. He didn't notice anything, but
Right.
but no, Lions Lair was always a good time too.
Right. Okay. Now, what else would I, say? With it being on East Colfax, didn't you see hookers out there?
Constantly.
Uh,
Oh,
cynically,
wow.
I'd say that the Lions Lair had more hypodermic needles than cricket did, but it's just me.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Saw a total of 3 shows at the Lions Lair, and every time I left there, my head felt like it was gonna fucking pop. It was so fucking loud in there.
And hot and smoky.
Yeah, hot as hell. But I always remember leaving there just having the best time.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
because,
it was so small. It was so fucking tiny that
right.
there was no room for error in there whatsoever.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. All right. Well, one thing I'll say about the Lions later, because if we all remember, nobody in particular presents booked it.
Yes.
If you remember that, and I really, and I understood Peter Orrey's angle about local bands. Hey, if you want to play the Bluebird or the Gothic or the Ogden, you got to pack the Lions Lair first.
He made
I,
Rogue
un-
do that, Ty.
yeah, yeah, I, I understood where Peter was coming from, but I just thought it's just like, what is the point of booking the Lions Lair? It's like after paying out the players and paying out the band. I don't see where nobody in particular presents made money off of it.
Well, the Lions are still would book. They booked the guy from the refreshments.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure they made some money doing that.
Right. Okay. As I was
Yeah.
wondering, like, it's like the other 3-seaters makes total sense. We're gonna get into those in a minute, But I will just simply say, just like, I just didn't understand the business model of the Lions Lair and how and all that involvement. But if someone knows better, by all means they can chime in.
Johnny, did you
So
guys play the Lions Lair?
I played the Lions there 3 times in my life is all, so not a whole lot. But yeah, Peter Orr made Rogue play the Lions Lair before he gave us a Bluebird show.
right,
So even Rogue, when we were drawing 300 and 400 people a show, we had to do the Lions Lair, and I played
right,
with my foot on the bar.
right.
Yeah,
And
that's
that
right.
that's gonna lead me to my to what we're rolling next. If John here, Murray's here, you guys were part on April 24th, 1999, that Ogden show that headline Corruption, Rogue, Drudgery, and Tread. We're not going to talk about that band Depth Charge and all that. That's kind of an embarrassment. But that to me was one of the most important shows for the local circuit. I felt.
I think Peter Orr, with his as he was doing the promotion on those shows and was able to give us free tickets,
Hmm.
we were able to pack the Bluebird, all of
Hmm.
us.
Right,
Every show, we were able to put 600-800 people in the Bluebird on a whim. That
right,
was one of the best thing that happened for the scene of the late '90s with all the
right,
bands.
right. Now, Murray, if you don't remember, if that's a fair answer. But how did you get, who asked you to get on that bill? Was that Bill? Was it Mark? Who was it?
It was probably Bill.
Right. So I
Yeah,
remember
I mean,
that.
I don't remember, but I can't imagine it being anybody but him.
Right. Okay. Now,
He was
but
always very good to us.
right, of course. And I'm just gonna, one of the things I, remember about it is just that everyone just said if everybody in the local scene needs to attend that show. I think we all did.
Oh
That was a
yeah.
pretty big night. That was
I can
also the
hear
first.
Bill say, if I was into sewing and this is my sewing competition, I would want you to be there for I forget how Bill put it, but yeah, he had dumb little quips like that all the time.
Right. Now, at the time, you know, I, s- I, s- I suspected a little bit of tension between Mark and Bill, John.
There was a tension between Bill and a lot of people.
Right,
Um, Rogue was Rogue was Bill Terrell and the other guys. I was one of the other guys.
right,
Um,
sure.
so Bill did everything with an iron fist, and we
Right,
showed up, shut up, and played our instrument.
right, sure. Now, this allows me to go into my next question. Because if we all remember, Rogue and Tread were pretty close. Is that right, John?
Yeah, I was actually in Tread. That's the only band I ever got fired from was
Right.
Tread.
Well,
I
I
was an
think
asshole.
okay.
Ah,
Hey,
Go
we've
ahead.
all been there.
I'd like to hear about that story because that's a new one to me. But you don't have
Um,
to share it now. I don't know. It's up to
oh,
you.
it's not a big deal. I actually lived with Joe from Tread. Joe
Oh,
played bass for my band Just Steel back in
Mhm.
the day.
okay.
And so when Joe started Tread with Chad, the singer, and Andy, the other guitar player, they asked me to play. I was living with them at the time.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I was headstrong and wanted to be a single guitar player. And they made sure that Tread was a single guitar band. It just wasn't with me.
Right.
All right. Well, what year was that? Like 97 or something like that?
I joined Rogue in '98, so that had to be '97 or '96.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I didn't really meet any of you guys until the Blitz room.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Right.
was
That
my first show with Rogue was the Blitz Room.
Mhm.
okay. Wow. Then I must have seen that then.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah.
Let me roll up to my point because I remember on Rogue's website says if there was a sound man that didn't do Tread right, so Bill got him fired. It says if you fuck with Tread, you fuck with Rogue. I had no Andy and Joe were nice guys. I had no gripe with Tread really, and other whatnots. But I want to ask Bill and Chad this question. This is not a review. Remember that jam at the end, that jam at the end of the Rogue set, John?
The one with Chad.
Yeah, you want that jam at the end of the set? Was that
Yeah,
him and Bill's idea?
that was a song called Falling Down. Rogue and Tread shared a wall at the DAV. We were
Right,
right next door to each other. And
right.
so we asked Tread to come over to that big ass Rogue room we had and
Okay,
set up a second drum set. And that's how Falling Down started. We just all jammed a song and it came out and ended up on the Rogue album.
right. Okay. I was
Uh,
wondering about that. I was just because I was just kind of like, okay, okay. I just I did it's not like I completely abhorred it because obviously I came back to more Rogue shows and whatnot. I'm just kind of like John, I didn't say anything back then because I didn't want anything to blow back on me. But I'm just kind of like, okay, and I don't know if that's how I would have ended the Rogue set, but that's just my opinion.
There was just bands that were next door to each other decided to jam a song together is all it was.
Right. Okay. So that's all it will be. But I will say this: the results of that show, I think we are all in debt. We're in debt to Rogue, Corruption, Dread, as well as Drudgery, because that to me that night opened opportunities up for the rest of us.
That was monumental.
Yes, it was. It most certainly was. Mike, you certainly you had to have played the Bluebird, the Gothic, the Ogden. Surely you did.
Yeah, all three. Yeah.
All three. Okay. Mike, we'll start with you. Out of those three, if you could do one more show, where would it be and who would it be with?
Oh, probably
Yeah.
New Year's Eve, 1996, 97 with Buzz.
Right.
We
And
did New Year's Eve. We did a New Year's Eve party, but then I got to say, when I was playing with Buck Wild, we did the Englewood City Christmas party at the
Mhm.
Gothic,
Right,
which
Wow.
was completely sold out.
right.
And that was an incredible show.
Who was
Mhm.
on that bill, Mike?
Well, I remember we were when I was in Buck Wild, but honestly, I I couldn't really tell you. I really couldn't.
Mhm.
Who the rest of them were, I don't know.
But personally, for me, the I played all three, and I have fond memories of all of them. But anybody who played at the Ogden, you know how we had comp tickets for 21 and up. Remember
Yeah.
that?
All
We
right.
had that.
Yeah.
You know, homeless people on Colfax would try to sell them. Did anyone else see that?
I remember that.
Right. I'd say at the Ogden, people would just go like, "I got tickets," you know. But I would just say this. All three places have different meanings for me in that, in many respects. But I would say this: the Gothic, I would say, is the best indoor venue Denver still has to offer to this day.
It's
If someone
beautiful.
wants to disagree, go ahead.
No, it's beautiful. It's
Oh, I
beautiful.
love the place. I never got a chance to play there though, but I loved it.
Right,
It was probably my favorite place to go to
right,
see a band.
right. And we're going to talk more in depth with this next month, on December 6th when Wayne Quigley comes and joins us. But I can say this about what nobody in particular presents did when they opened that up. I only dealt with Peter Orry once. Then after that, all I had to deal with Wayne. I dealt with Wayne and Bill Terrell and other bands getting into these venues. And I will give nobody in particular presents one big piece of credit is that they were not a pay for play kind of business.
That's right.
Yeah.
I give them mad props for that.
I've refreshed my memory, guys. Where was the Gothic located?
No,
That,
285 Broadway.
yeah, yeah, Hamden and Broadway.
Hampton and Broadway. Okay. I can't remember if we played there or not. Like I said, man, my grave matter's a little foggy in some.
That's right. That's why we're doing these.
situations.
That's why we're doing these. It's like, oh, I remember now. But
Hey, hey, Murray, did Keith ever do? There was a winter gig that we played somewhere, and it was going to be a big deal. We did radio promotions and shit, and I think the night of or the night before there was a massive blizzard. So really, there was just the bands pretty much hanging out in the audience. I can't
Mhm.
remember,
That sounds very familiar.
I can't remember what the hell that was or what the venue was, but I know that was quite a establishment as well.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right. I would, what I would say is that if Keith is hearing this, he can certainly set the record straight in that respect. But, you know, I would say one of my fonder memories of the Bluebird was Esovae opening up for King's X. That was one of my favorite evenings.
That was a
I remember that too.
Right.
that was
That was
a
a
I
big
could,
deal. Yeah,
right, because
I remember that.
all right, Mark Grabowski from Corruption made a claim after the Infectious Record showcases. He claimed that Corruption set the decibel record for the loudest in the Bluebird. Did anybody else hear that? He
No,
said
but I
right to
wouldn't
my
doubt it.
face. He said right to my face. He says we set the decibel record.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Right. So,
I
all
do
right,
have to say
guys.
though on that show, and I'll maintain this till I'm it dirt, but Doug Pinnick is one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Wow, I'm jealous.
And it was a while later, Tread opened up for King's X again at the Bluebird Theater, and I took the twins. They must have been 7, 8, 9 years old. That dude stopped the show and had to point the boys out and gave those guys all kinds of swag afterwards, and talked about when we played together, and just the dude blew my fucking mind.
Wow. Do you remember when their first album came out? What year that was? Because I remember I got into them as soon as they came out. I think I saw a video on MTV and
Is that Black Flag?
went out and bought their album. I don't remember year that was.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Murray. Years and attachments like that are lost in my fucking brain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hmm.
Just
Yeah,
doing that.
Hey, I got I mean, you got off the Lair really quick.
Right.
But I have a thing related to the Ogden.
Okay, go for it.
So we played Lions Lair once. I don't remember what year. It was sometime in the late 90s. And we got on with the band Skin Lab, if you remember
Okay.
that. And
that was a natural act. Yeah.
yeah, so why a national touring band would play the Lions Lair, I'm not sure. But it ended up not working out because we played our set and they never showed up.
Okay.
And we found out later that the promoter sent them to the Ogden. And the
Oh,
Ogden was closed that night, so they just took off to their next city on their tour date or their tour schedule.
that's insanely nutty.
Yeah.
That's quite a drive down Colfax from the Ogden to the Lions Lair, too.
Right. Okay. Now, all right. One thing, and Wayne's going to elaborate further. Wayne Quigley, when he started promoting in '03, he got in good with Peter Orry. I had one show for Bottoms Up. We had One from None, Godless Promise Mechanism, like Winds and Faint Echoes, and Sanguine Addiction for Bottoms Up, on a Saturday. And Wayne's just kind of like, oh, by the way, I got bad news. I got to move you guys to the Ogden Theater. So I'm just kind of like, well, that's, I was amazed when I heard that. That's something I don't think, with today's business model, opportunities like that would ever happen again like that. Not in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right. Anyone else got a favorite memory or anything about the Bluebird, Gothic, anything?
I got a Lions Lair story.
Do it.
We, after our set, Buzz and I and Jack would kind of go out into the alley, and probably about 30 people from the audience would follow us out into that alley. And it could be a rainstorm, blizzard, blazing heat, but we'd all be in a circle in that alley. And one night it was a snowstorm, and Buzz had a pot pipe that had a big bowl, but it was a cock and balls that he would pass around the whole circle of everybody, and first time I looked into that thing, it was like, I don't know, man. But it was pot. So, but one night a Denver cop came zooming up the alley, and Buzz took off before any of us saw it. And I was right. I saw it coming, and I ran right after him, and we jumped into the back of the Lions, where the kitchen area was at the Lions Lair, backstage or whatever. I changed out of my kilt, and he threw his jeans over his tutu, and we just went and mingled into the crowd. But a couple cops came in looking around, and nobody got in trouble, but they were right there.
Wow. Okay.
Hey, Ty.
Yeah.
Um, I I found the old Drudgery newsletter
Uh-huh.
uh talking about that show at the Ogden.
Did you?
Um
Okay.
yeah, it said everyone had good performances and the crowd responded great. Uh but the night had more than its share of sound problems. Do you
Hmm.
remember anything about that?
Yeah. I heard some squeaking, especially during depth charges set. Whoop,
Oh,
whoop, whoop, whoop.
hmm, I
But
don't know.
I just, what I remember about that night is just that it was heavily promoted. They said you got to go, and everybody, and that gave birth to it. But I'm sure other people, when they see this, they watch this broadcast and they bring in their own opinions and other whatnots, that a lot of that light will shed.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
Murray, you bringing that up, obviously that's going to bring up someone else who will watch this and kind of go from there. So.
Um yeah, unless wait a second. Hold on, that was in February, right?
No, that was April.
No, that okay, never mind. I just want to make sure I got the right Ogden show. So I know we
Right.
played there two or three times. We played a lot more at the Bluebird. Uh
Hmm.
okay, I just want to make sure I had the right. It's like for some reason on my newsletters I don't have any dates.
Right. All right.
So
All right.
put old memories together with events, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
Cool.
I
Cool.
remember this Jeff, the sound man, his last name was Johnston, I believe. We were talking about him earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Right.
hey,
No,
who
makes sense.
remind
No,
my remind me who was that long running soundman at Cricket?
that's Jeff Johnson.
That was
Yeah,
Jeff.
That was
yeah,
Jeff.
that was
Okay.
We
Jeff.
were
Yeah,
talking about the same person.
Yeah, he was cool, right? I mean,
Oh, he was great.
very.
yeah, just pretty down to earth and easy to deal with, if I as I remember.
Yeah,
Well,
very, very much so.
Yeah,
well,
cool.
I'll just say this. One thing I've learned, and I, learned about sound, I learned from him is just that, the sound man can't necessarily make a bad band sound good, but they can make a good band sound better.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
agree.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
right. Because some bands it's just like it's they can't play in tune to save their lives. It's just like no one can save them.
no,
You know, there was a band at Pinky's when I wore many hats there. It was a kids band called Aliven, and the drummer was like not even 8 years old, and he could barely touch he can barely touch the he could barely touch the bass drum, pedal, and the parents are screaming, "We can't hear the drums." It's like because we can't hear him play. You know, that's just crazy. But again, I will just say when it came to the Ogden Gothic and Bluebird, I didn't worry about money. I was just happy to play there.
Oh,
oh yeah,
absolutely.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just something about being on those larger stages where, I could run around and jump around and not have to worry about hitting uh, uh, a
The
A
cymbal
guitar
light.
player knocking
stand
those.
or, my guitarist or,
Mm,
or even, headbutt my own microphone or something stupid like that.
right.
It was nuts. Hey,
Now,
I just thought of another memory as I'm looking through these newsletters. So uh, the last show that Drudgery played at the Bluebird was the last show with our original drummer Nick Seelinger,
yeah,
who went
with Nick, yep, I remember
to play
that.
with Silencer. Yeah, and we actually announced his exit at that show,
Hmm.
and so that show was a pretty big deal for us, and I'm guessing maybe that was maybe January of the following year.
Yeah,
But
January 2000. Because Silencer's original lineup split up in the summer of '99 after their little Desert Suck tour. Then Sealinger joined early 2000, if I remember right, Murray.
yeah, yeah. And I remember that one thing I remember about that show is uh because we kind of went on hiatus for a while after that.
Yeah, that's before you
And,
got Steve Pat.
yeah, no, no, we had another drummer in between. God, what I can't remember his name. He uh the hell was his name? He used to play with Blister 66. That
Oh,
drummer.
Dave Foonberg?
No.
No.
Uh God damn. I haven't talked to him in a long time. I can't remember his name. Oh, Chris Reeser.
Okay, Chris Reeser. Okay.
Yeah, so anyway, that's I remember we first show we played with the new drummer was at the Ilif. But anyway, but no, we were finishing up an album
Mm,
when Nick said he was gonna leave. Anyway,
okay.
that show at the very end, there was a real because since I don't know, I guess it was a good night and people wanted to keep playing, and and I don't know, I think I was kind of pissed about this is we're kind of gonna go into hiatus for a while until we figure
Mm,
out the lineup and everything, and I remember everyone was kind of like, keep playing, and I'm not one of those encore kind of guys. I can't stand that shit.
mm.
I just want to leave all of myself on the stage in a pool of sweat on that last song. And then, you know, to end an era for the band. And then people's like, I remember Jeff looking over to me and was like, let's play another one. And I'm like, no. In fact, I don't think I even said no. I think I just screamed at him.
Right.
Uh, and then that was it. But uh, that was a very memorable night.
Mm,
All those shows at the Ogden or the Bluebird were just
mm.
something
Remember
else.
that stairway that went down to the green room at the Bluebird?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a 10 by 6 concrete cell.
Fucking bunker.
Yeah.
Is that what it was? I never, I played when I played the Bluebird once. We didn't have that. We weren't allowed to have access to the green room, which I heard my feelings didn't get hurt because I heard it wasn't very exciting.
It
So
had
like,
they pulled the couch that was down in that fucking thing.
Was
Must have
there
been
actually a
sitting
couch
out in
down
the
there?
back alley. It was so fucking gross. I remember Marilyn refused to sit on it. She was like, I'm not sitting on that fucking thing.
Wasn't there a ladder that led up into the rafters too? Like
Oh
up
yeah.
above the soundboard on stage left
I think you're
over
right.
there. Because I got high on coke there, I think once. I
On the
think.
ladder?
No, actually upstairs, but it was a terrible ladder ride down. I really promised my whole life in bands wasn't about doing drugs. I promise.
no, no, no. Well, I never indulged in that stuff, and as naturally as energetic I am as is was then and is now, that maybe that's a good thing for all of us. But you know, I would say that the Ogden Green Room was very disappointing. I'm like, this is it? That's all they got?
Yeah,
Seriously? That's it? Just this nice little green room. I remember seeing
and
Motorhead
it's
in
hot.
Nashville. Yeah. It was just like, that's
Yeah.
it. Lemmy Kilmister accepts this? Really?
So did Robbie Krieger.
Right. It's just like,
Well, actually, I
no,
saw Robbie. Yeah, at the Ogden, I saw Robbie Krieger. Yeah.
right. I was just amazed by it. It was like, it's like, so I'm like, that's it. Okay. But for the Gothic though, the Gothic was the best green room in town.
Oh yeah.
Loved it. Loved the Ogden. Loved the Gothic. Nice downstairs. And did anyone? I played multiple shows for VQ Productions. Did Esovae or I know Rogue? I don't think Rogue teamed up with Wayne. Did you, John?
Negative.
Yeah, you're right.
I
Wait,
don't recall if we did or not because
I don't. I'm trying to remember. I don't think so, but I did multiple gigs with Wayne. All of them were good, but one time at the Gothic, Wayne was good enough to buy. There was a tub of a big old aluminum tub. He bought it. He bought it full of beer. for the bands to drink. I thought that was really nice of them. And after our set, I see Chadwick from Moore, who's not on the bill. He's hanging out there and he's just he's just down in beers. And for a second, I'm just thinking like, Chadwick, I like you, but why are you drinking my fucking beer? Oh, it's Miller High Life. I wouldn't drink it anyway. I wouldn't drink it anyway. But I would just say it's like the Gothic. I just think if I could go back in time and just assemble a dream lineup, do it the Gothic, I would definitely get the DeLorean and try to make that happen.
Well, Herman's had a really nice green room too down those stairs.
As long as you
Right.
could make it down the stairs, yeah.
There was, I think, two rooms.
Two
wasn't it?
rooms, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we have not touched up much on Herman's, and because really, I didn't have a negative experience there. I just didn't think necessarily, Herman's was, it wasn't against the metal community, but I think they had their own agenda. Mike, you can straighten me out.
Okay.
Anybody can straighten me out, but it's like, Mike, I didn't understand the Herman strategy. I didn't understand what they were trying to do.
I know Rexway killed there. Rexway.
Did you have to kind of
Rexway
prove
kid-
yourself before they'd even give you
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not in a position to know. Mike and
You had
Josh
to
were
go from
not.
Wednesday to Thursday to Friday. Yeah, you had to work your way up at Herman's.
that's
At
right.
least-
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
I think somehow, Maryland had a magical way of getting to know people, and so I think, at least for Esovae anyway, we got a bunch of gigs there through her and through other bands. I know we played there a bunch, like I said, with Rexway, and
Right.
that fucking place was packed every time those guys played down there,
Hmm.
and they were all top-notch guys and gal.
Hmm.
But
Right.
yeah, it was kind of weird on their genre mixes. I know.
Well,
Okay.
the only thing that bugged me about Herman's was they gave you a stack of tickets to sell, and then they'd kind of base your next booking, it seemed,
Right.
on sales of those tickets.
Right. So how did that work, Mike? Did you give a ticket? Like you went up to me, hey Ty, I've got a ticket, $10, please. I give you $10. How did that? What was the business model of that?
Well, it's like my whole thing, and what with playing with Rex too was or Tequila Mockingbird. I was in Tequila Mockingbird for a while, and
Okay.
it became more work for us to, it's like, man, this is, and correct me guys if you think I'm wrong, but I didn't necessarily think it was terribly fair to leave the bands to market an event that you're doing, if that makes any
Right.
sense.
Right.
And that kind of became pretty frustrating because you're struggling to sell these tickets,
Hmm.
going around every family member and friend, say, hey man, you want to $10, $20, couple tickets, da da da.
Sure.
And that was hard to do, and then at the door they would mark who was coming to see who, and then they would
Mhm.
base your next booking on that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
A large that was my experience there in later years, not when I was playing with Buzz necessarily, but
Sure.
with Buck Wild, yeah, that was I got chewed out by Alan Roth because we didn't sell enough Buck Wild tickets, even though we had a full night,
Right.
So that
Okay.
got, I mean, it was a great stage to play and a great staff, great audience, but that was the only thing I didn't like about it.
Right. Now, when I first founded, this concept of doing this archive, John Bollack was one of the first people I reached out to, and I'm, so grateful he's here. I remember John, you could say it better, you say it better than I could. It's like our live music venues are turning into Latino nightclubs.
I think that's the natural progression. When a rock club grows up and gets old, it turns into a Mexican dance club.
Right, it certainly does.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from Australia, Melbourne, it is James
man.
Brennan from the mighty Kronow.
G'day, mates.
Oh, brother James.
Hey
What's
man,
up, Charlie?
where's your screen at?
I can see you, James.
Can you guys
Good to
see
see
me at
you,
all?
man.
You're as bald
Yeah.
as I
You
am,
and me,
brother.
yeah, look at
It's good to
that.
see you.
Oh, there he is.
There's a
Hey,
lot less.
James.
Yeah,
Can you
there's a
guys
lot
see
less.
me at all?
Hey, Scott.
Yeah, yeah, Mike, we
Oh.
got you loud and clear. James, we
I-
got you loud and
Oh,
clear.
good.
I haven't seen you until now, Mike. I just saw black screen the whole time, but I just
Yeah, Mike, I think your PC is still up.
Well,
I can see you.
I'm hearing you through my PC, but my phone's picking up the video. So
Gotcha.
oh, there's James.
hi.
Oh, yeah, another bald guy. Right on.
Yep, that's
Hey,
right.
Mark.
Hey.
Oh Lord. But
Hey, if you
That'll,
don't
that'll be
mind,
one of the headlines, Ty. Like 70% of all the ex-rockers are now bald.
yes, they are. They most certainly are. Hey, yeah, James, you kind of joined us in progress. One of the things I wanted to let's go ahead and just get straight to you. Um, you took Kronow from the Lion's Lair to the Ogden. Explore, share with us this journey. What did you think of the Lion's Lair, and how you lifted that and how you made it happen?
Oh, look, it was what took us 5 years to go through that journey, but we couldn't have done it without clubs like the Lion's Lair and House of Rock and stuff like that. You know, you've got to. We would have been playing the Ogden to 5 people.
Sure.
You know, when you play those small clubs, you eventually get to the point where you've got a 20-person crowd, and it feels like 100-person crowd at the Ogden. So you've got to work your way up through that.
Right.
It just
Okay.
takes grinding.
Okay. Now, if I remember, all right, Tenfold was the first album you did with Kronow, right?
Yep.
Tenfold. Now, you had your CD release show. Where was that venue? Because I remember being there because Drudgery played with you. That was my first good look at Kronow. It was an event center.
I want to
What
say
was
like
it?
the Bluebird or something like
That
I
was
that.
think
the
it was the
Bluebird.
Bluebird.
Was it the Bluebird?
I think it
Because
was a Bluebird.
there was an event center like around on Welton.
Oh, I know what you're talking
Oh
about.
shit! Yeah.
Sherman Street Event Center.
is that
Yeah,
across the street
Yeah.
from Herman's?
That's right.
Right.
Sherman Street Event Center, and it was a really old building.
Right. It said,
I
they had a
remember that.
smoking room, they had a drinking room, but you couldn't smoke and drink in the main room. That was my memory of it. And my other memory is Herbert's music with the Fox brothers always running the sound for it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that sounds about right.
Right. I remember the Tenfold, the Tenfold CD release show. James is just rocking out and all that jazz. I'm like, hey, I know that guy. But
Was that when
I-
Ted was in the that Ted was in the band then?
Yep.
right,
Yep.
No,
Ted
just
was the
with-
founder of the band.
right.
Yeah.
And James, what I want to ask you, after Forever Altered came out, and you decided to join Mandrake, join Mandrake, what factored in that decision?
Look, just after doing Kronow for what, 6 years, something like
Mm.
that, I started getting invited to play, guest roles in other bands and just seeing opportunities and just wanting to try something different.
Okay.
So I did some stuff with, if you guys remember Gashead, up from Fort Collins. I did some stuff with them. I did some stuff with Switchpin. And I just kind of got to the point where I felt I wanted to do something different after 6 or 7 years with Kronow. And
Sure.
so we disbanded Kronow. We actually tried to form something else with me and Nate and the guys from Corruption with Mark and Sean. We had something that we were trying to form for a couple of months. It just never went anywhere.
Right. Okay.
And then I stumbled into Mandrake. They were looking for a singer for they were looking for a temporary singer for the NAMM show.
Okay.
So the guys from Mandrake, they had, I'm trying to remember the name of the amps, Madison amps.
Okay.
So they were running that business, and they had a booth at the NAMM show, and Mandrake was going to play, and they had no singer.
Who sang?
Oh.
Who sang before you, James?
Oh,
There was a guy named Greg.
Greg Karen.
super deep growl.
Didn't he have like big bushy hair?
Yeah, James Ryan Taryn.
James
Okay,
Ryan.
no, that was the
Yes.
former
There
singer of the
you
Mandrake.
go.
That was the
Okay.
Mandrake former singer. For
Okay.
Kronow,
That's
it
what
was
I-
a guy named Greg.
Oh no, no,
Yeah.
I thought you meant the Mandrake.
Oh no, if it's the Mandrake, James Ryan Taryn, you're correct, Murray. You're absolutely
Okay.
right.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
So how'd the
Yeah, so
NAMM
anyway,
show go?
Kronow was fun. We did a ton. What I would say is with Kronow, we were a better business than a band. We were an
Okay.
okay band. I
Okay.
can't disparage the guys in the band, but we were never like amazing musicians or amazing songwriters. We
Okay.
built that band based on the business and hard work.
Okay. All right. Explain the strategy, let's just say for your explain the strategy for like an Ogden or a Gothic or a Bluebird show. How would you go about it?
So we got to the point where we could play those venues because we had kind of built up a reputation for bringing in people, and I learned a ton from Johnny and from Bill. I
Hmm.
learned the business of the Denver music scene from them, who to talk to, going and always going into the NIPP offices, bring them donuts or something like that, going and always just stopping by and asking if there's an opening slot on anything. But when we finally got to the point where we could play those shows, we just worked our asses off. We would flyer every show every
Hmm.
day for the 2 months before that. We would go
Hmm.
with stacks of flyers, and each of us would split up and go to shows, and we would just do the
I can
legwork.
hear Bill Terrell, James, say that he loved having you on those gigs because you guys busted your ass.
Hmm. Yeah,
That was
yes,
what it was about. It was about how hard you worked.
right. And I was going to say it's like, yeah, no one worked harder. Very few bands worked harder than Kronow in that department. And
Well, and I learned
Damn
it from
straight.
from Rogue.
yeah,
You guys showed me what that
Fuck, it was all
does.
Bill. I was just a passenger.
Well, James, that was Buzz's whole thing you're talking about. It was he would go to the clubs and we'd print shirts and everything, and we even had door prizes sometimes.
mhm,
And
Nice.
he would go in and kind of meet with the owners and the club bookers and everything, and just chat them up, and got to be friends with everybody. And
mhm.
it was a huge. He was actually a very good marketer.
That FaceTime was very important when
Yeah.
you're getting around and you're sort of trying to get your name out there or whatever. It really was about just making the connections with people.
Yeah.
Because it was before social media and email,
Sure.
like the people at the clubs didn't check emails, or, it wasn't effective. Yeah, you had to do it in person. You had to go.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Right.
sure.
It also, no, James, it didn't hurt that you had kind of, you were kind of the Elvis of the Denver metal scene.
I don't know where that came from.
No, it came from Bill, dude. Bill called you like, motherfucker. He's like Elvis. He works his ass off. Takes pronoun Tuesdays at the Lions Lair, the headline of the Ogden. I love working with that motherfucker. So in addition to that, and also just networking, I'll ask you guys a question about work, rehearsing at the DAV, just seeing each other. It's like, hey, just everyone knew each other at the DAV about gigs, right, guys? Right, Scott? You
Yeah,
know,
that
Loved
was
it.
a big networking spot. I mean, again, you'd go see Throw Cult, you'd go see Tread, you'd go see Rogue, you'd go see Typhoid,
mhm,
you'd go see, you know what? A lot of those guys that rehearsed upstairs, and I'm embarrassed to say this, I didn't really know a lot of those guys,
mhm.
but I tell you what, they worked just as fucking hard as anybody else did when Rogue
Sure.
would have a fucking party. That place would be just buzz bombed, fucking full of fucking people.
Mhm.
And I'll say on a couple of occasions, since there was no windows down there, that when I left that place and saw the sun coming up, I knew I was going to get my ass kicked when I got home.
I'm glad we all got our tetanus shots because that place is ugly.
Yeah, okay. The DAV something that's going to be a main subject coming January 3rd. So I don't want to get too distracted on that. Distracted
Hey,
on that.
Ty, just real quick, I
Go
just
ahead.
like to ask Murray and James and Mike, where did you guys rehearse? I know, James, you guys rehearsed at Ted's when you guys were first coming up, but Murray and Mike, where'd you guys rehearse?
26th and Curtis.
Wow. I practiced there.
Yeah, we called it the Bat Cave.
Yeah, that place was evil, pure evil. I practiced next to cephalic carnage. It was liquid death coming through the walls.
Oh, cephalic carnage, man. I remember. Oh man, I remember those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that basement there. We shared a space with. It was actually Chaos Theory's old space,
Right.
Okay.
and we shared a space with another band. They were kind of a goth band, though. I can't remember what they were called right now.
Was Sarah from Shock?
No, it wasn't them. It was Decanonized, is what they were called.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want my story of where we've played or where we jammed? Well, being from out of the state, the first place we got was this garage in an alley off of Colfax somewhere. I don't even it's one of those old houses that had a separate garage building in the back on the alley, and it was probably like 100-year-old brick garage, and it was all falling apart. And every time every time it was supposed to rain, we had to put tarps over all of our equipment
Oh,
because it would leak. One of those old garages with like a slightly sloped but otherwise flat roof that's just tarred. And I remember getting up there with a can of tar once but yeah, I got pictures of blue tarps over Nick's drum set and then all of our stacks and stuff like that. And so after that, and that was just the first year where we practiced for our demo and everything, and all those gigs that we never got that first year. And then like the next year, we played at a place up closer to I-70. It was in this industrial area at some old like factory building that oh no, it used to be a school, I think. And then it like a big old 2-story brick building. It was a school, and then someone bought it and was like using it some kind of factory or manufacturing. Anyway, we just rented like a room in there, which in the past would have been a classroom. And I remember we put like carpet and stuff all over the walls and everything, and it just had a simple we just you bring your own lock, and I'm shocked we didn't have our shit ripped off. 'Cause, it would have just been a bolt cutter and you get all of the gear, but and then after that and that was with our original guitarist, and then when he split and we eventually found Jeff, Jeff had a house off of pretty close to Colfax and Wadsworth, and he had a back house which used to be it wasn't a house, it used to be like a chicken coop, he said, back years before him and his wife bought the property, and it was converted into a little jam space, and it was great. We did that place until I guess Steve Pat joined, and we played in his garage,
Okay.
which was kind of converted into a studio.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to interject. I'm going to interject here about Ted Beer. This is before Nathan Salas joined Kronow. Him, Greg, and Scott Clark and Ted were doing a thing. We're doing a little thing. They asked me to play bass and kind of check it out. And James, I don't know if that basement smelled like cat piss.
Oh, I remember that fucking basement.
That's why we had to get out of there. And
Right, I was gonna say.
his home and his family situation is what eventually led me to a bit of mutiny, and
Right.
because Ted wouldn't let, or his wife wouldn't let go of the band, and I just
Sure.
said, we can't do this anymore.
Right. Yeah. And again, I didn't have any animosity towards anyone in any way, shape, or form, but I'm just smelling this. I'm just kind of like, how can we do this? I can't breathe.
Phil used to get pissed because he had the ports in his bass cabs, and the cats used to go in there and shit in his bass cabs.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Oh, Lord.
That's horrible.
Because I just remember it's like, because I jammed with them twice, just like, and when I went upstairs to get some fresh air, I'm like, and it's just like, come on, Ted, I like you, come on, but it's got to be better, and things just.
I wanted to get out of there so fast, and we were on the wait list for the DAV, and
Right.
one day I got a call from Bill, and he's just like, bring your gear and some cash now. The band was moving. The band next to them in the room next to them was moving out. And he's like, get your stuff here, get it in there, and then go talk to the old guys upstairs with cash. You'll shortcut
That's the way
line.
you do it. Move in first, do the paperwork later.
Right. Okay. I'm going to interject here. I don't know if you people know this. I actually auditioned for Kronow. I actually did. And I just remember it was a fun night. Nate joined the band, got to meet Rick and Randy. It was a fun night, but James wasn't there. And I was so looking forward to doing the American Nightmare with him. Your little rant. I had every plans to do it. Didn't do it. I had a great time. It was great, but it was just like James did me a favor. He's just like, okay, Ty, we're going to keep looking. And I wasn't going to be a good fit, but that was one of the most fun auditions I ever had in my life. That was a lot of fun at the DAV.
Yeah, sorry I missed it. And then we got Forrest, who joined.
Well,
she was
a better fit. Forrest fit you guys really good. I also think Forrest played on some not so great bands before Kronow, in my opinion.
Yeah, what was the band that she was first known for before Kronow?
Anyone?
I'm unaware.
Yeah,
I had their CD, I think.
Right.
I can't even remember.
Right. I just I remember that, but I just remember after Forever Altered, Forever Altered came out, and then then basically, Kronow just kind of faded away after that. Straighten us out there, James.
Look, it was weird. Like, we were on top of everything. We were doing really well. It was my call, really. I was the one who
Sure.
said, I'm thinking of leaving and I'm looking to do something else. I wasn't into where we were going, I guess. I was
Right.
looking for something maybe a little bit more melodic, and Nate and Rick were really pushing into more heavier and weird timey stuff, and
Right.
lots of changes through the songs. And I think I was just looking for more musicality, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay.
And so it's weird to say that I went from that to the Mandrake, which is like, no singing, but musically it felt
Very
the
melodic.
songs were better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
How long did you play with the Mandrake?
Probably about a year and a half to 2 years before I moved to Australia.
Okay. Wow.
And what room were you guys in at the DAV? I don't even remember that.
So when we very first moved to the DAV, there was a tiny little room right next to Rogue's. So you walk down the hallway to Rogue's room, which was on the left. Just before you got into Rogue's room, there was a door. and there's a tiny little room right there that most people don't even know was a room. It was always just like almost like the entry to Rogue's room.
Is that where Throw Cult wasn't in there for a while, were they, John?
I think Dig Six Down was in there first.
Big Six. Okay, I do remember.
Didn't that room have a pole in it, James? Like a support pole?
I think so.
Right.
It was tiny.
Yeah,
it was small. We were
right
stuffed
down
in
the
there.
stairs off to your left. And then as soon as that room opened right next door to Rogue, you jumped right in there and you were in there.
Yep.
John, you
And then
said
eventually we ended up upstairs in one of the big rooms.
The one with the bathroom, fucker.
No,
Awesome.
we
I
didn't.
love
We
that
didn't.
room.
No, we didn't have that one. I
You didn't
forget
have
who
that
had that
for
one at the
bathroom?
top.
Okay.
We were on the far corner. You come up the stairs and you go all the way down. You go all the way to the left. We were in like the far corner from the entrance.
Oh, wow. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I thought you were at the top of the stairs there at the first room.
Okay,
No, that
guys.
was I forget their name, but Sean from Corruption was in a band that had that at the top of the stairs.
I remember hearing the news when that place burned down, man. I was gutted when I heard that. I absolutely was gutted.
It was gutted. I was in one of two rooms that didn't burn at the time.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Really?
I was upstairs at the time, and I was one of two rooms upstairs that didn't burn.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
That's
Skyline burned down too, I remember. Remember the Skyline?
yeah.
Yeah, that burned to the ground.
all right,
And
guys.
then that,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish that thought.
I was going to say that place on Broadway in Hampton that was practice space for so many bands burned down too.
Okay.
It's not surprising, man. Those buildings are old. We would pack them with freaking furniture and old shit and plug in, tons of amperage into single amps and power strips.
Yep. That's it.
What could happen? What could possibly happen? Okay.
And the carpets were probably so full of, alcohol.
Like a tinderbox.
Right. So it may not have been a shock to have it done sooner. Okay. I'm going to ask each and every one of you one question. Gothic, Bluebird, Ogden. Which one out of those three? Which one would you do? Mike, start with you.
Gothic.
Gothic. John,
Ogden.
James.
I liked playing the Gothic better, but we always did better at the Ogden.
Okay. Murray.
Well, having never played at the Gothic, but always enjoyed shows there, and it was a nicer place in general, I'd say the Gothic, but fond memories of the Ogden and the Bluebird, and I don't know. But Gothic, because we never played there. Would have loved to.
Okay. Scott.
Yeah, I'd go Gothic as well. That was
Yeah.
one of the places that I never played.
Okay. Gothic for me. I will add one more personal spin on that. My last gig with Depth Charge was June 30th, 2006. The next day, the indoor smoking ban was enacted in Colorado. Strange coincidences. So, it's the top of the hour. I'm going to go ahead. One final thought I have, and I want to get your thoughts on this. If the internet, when we first, discovered it in the mid 90s, and I just want to get everyone's take on it. It's just that my initial thought was I had no idea back in like 90 until Napster came out in 99, Metallica had that thing. I had no idea that could be such a hindrance to music. But, the internet to you, has that helped music? Has it hurt music? Did it help you on in the era that we were in? Did it help? Did it hurt? What did what's your experience on using it?
Well, for us, that was the MySpace era where you tried to pre-Facebook and all that. So you tried to use it to kind of help book shows or whatever. I remember when Lisa kind of was helping out book shows for Esovae, it was a tremendous help with booking shows out of state when we were putting together these little Southwest tours that we were doing, in Utah and California, New Mexico, Arizona stuff. It was a fucking tremendous help because you could pretty much guide them to your MySpace page, email your shit to them. You kind of lost some of that face to face postage stuff, but it sure did streamline a lot of stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, for the out of state stuff, it was critical. You could actually research where clubs were. You could find other bands that were kind of like you and see where they were playing and then kind of reach out to them. So for interstate, it was critical. And then for us, MySpace became huge because it got us access to a much younger demographic. Like
Sure.
we ended up having a pretty good sized group of, say, 16 to 20-year-olds that we really got through MySpace.
Sure. Okay. You said, the reason I bring this up is because one of the goals in this project is for this book and other memorabilia. I want to put it in a time capsule in some institution to hold it, to have it not open until the year 2100, and have people, people in their 20s and 30s, musicians, to find this footage and find out what it was like to be us.
Not until the statute of limitations expires.
Right. But the reason this is important to me is because we were one of the first generations to discover the internet, but social media and camera phones did not hadn't really changed our culture yet.
Yeah.
And I just
Thank God there were no camera phones at the DAV parties.
Yeah, I know.
Amen.
Right. Yeah, I might still be in prison.
right.
I don't know. The internet has killed live performance anymore, unless you're a super big artist. The mid-level and small level bands like we were all in, it killed them. It killed them. I couldn't draw a crowd right now with or without the internet if I was giving away porn and weed.
Yeah, right. I saw an interesting quip the other day, believe it or not, from Billy Corgan. And he said, it's great that these guys can get 10 million, 20 million views on their YouTube or their Instagram or whatever. But if it doesn't translate to record sales, then what the fuck does it matter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Our last studio album, the three of us, Jack was living in New Hampshire, Buzz was living in Salt Lake City, and I was here. And we recorded the entire Pink album by email.
That's crazy.
That's
Which
nice.
was, Jack and I would still go out to, we'd go to Salt Lake City together, and the three of us would do parts, but other parts were done by email. As far as promotional stuff, I don't really remember a whole lot that we did in that regard, because we were kind of at the end of our run.
Right.
But email and Westward, that was when we got the that Best of Denver award thing. Best charity gig by a bunch of drunks. They wrote about that album, but that was done primarily by email.
Wow.
Ty, I think Drudgery kind of bowed out before the digital age really got going, because
Right.
I'm looking at my old newsletters, and the first one that was done on a computer was like November 2001. And then there were like two other newsletters, and the last one was December 2003. Everything else before then, and including any flyers we ever made, were done me taping and pasting stuff and going to Kinko's and making flyers.
That's it.
That's right.
Yeah, so
right.
we didn't even have I don't think we had an email list. I think we just had I think we started to, but it was mostly just mailings. I would do mailings and flyering. And I remember we had a Drudgery website for a little while, but I don't know. I have a long list of failed websites over the years. So
Mostly it was just hanging out in front of the Ogden, the Gothic, Pepsi. It wasn't Pepsi Center back then, but here's a flyer. Go throw
yeah,
this away for me.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And that's something that in the year 2100, people, when they see this footage, they're gonna be like, they really did that? Yes, we did.
I'm back
Yes,
to
we
it.
did.
I was fortunate enough to work at some companies that their modus operandi was making copies, big blueprints and shit. So I had access to copiers. So I'd stick around till everybody left, and I'd run off the 500. I'd run off a ream of paper,
Nice.
flyers, and then bail the fuck out, before anybody knew what the hell was going on.
Mm.
I did
I
the same
remember-
thing when I was an office monkey. Yeah.
I'm still playing in bands actively, and it's almost made a full circle. We're almost back to handing out flyers again. It went
Wow.
from flyers to digital age, and digital age, it's back to flyers. I don't get anybody through on Facebook posts anymore. You get more by phone calls and handing a flyer out like you did back in the day. It's
Wow.
almost full circle.
Yeah. I remember hearing from somebody that would say back in the day, like if you hand out 100 of those little hand flyers and you get one person like that had never seen you before to your show, it was a win.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because they would.
I don't know if that's, I don't know. I mean,
We would always count on 10% on flyering.
maybe
You
it,
hand out 100 flyer, you got 10 people through the door.
maybe it was 10. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, Jim Renner claims with Malignari. Malignari would always pass out 1,000 flyers per show. He said on a Wednesday night at Isle of Park, he gave out 1,076 came in and paid. That's 7.5%. That's not a bad return, I don't think.
No,
No.
it's pretty good.
But
I
the way
would take it now.
way the scene was back then, I mean, if you get a new person come check you out and they like you, you
Mhm.
know, it spread. I mean, everything was word of mouth back then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like, I mean, I really noticed it with Drudgery because we were kind of outsiders. And I mean, so Nick was from like Lions, and of course Jeff was from the Denver scene, but he was a different Denver scene than everybody that was at the DAV and everything because he was on the West End. Uh,
Yeah,
and then
you
me,
West Enders.
I wasn't from Colorado, so it was so important just getting anybody interested in you and giving you a chance. And then, a lot of times, we could if we could get new people to just give us a chance and pay attention to us, we'd get another couple fans every show, and it would just until we finally kind of had a good created a good reputation. And then
Sure.
when we were talking about FaceTime earlier, I don't think we really did that great at a job with that kind of thing, but we got in good with a lot of bands and developed respect for each other, and it just created opportunities, and we'd take whatever we'd get, and we were always humble about it, and it was just one of the opportunities.
Cool.
And really look where we are now. I really appreciate being able to look at. We're talking to James in fucking Australia right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's,
Oh,
How cool is that?
And we didn't have to listen to. Didn't have to deal with that screechy, scratchy 56K crap.
Right. Yeah. I said, I have no diss about, about having this or having social media and other whatnots, because without that stuff, I couldn't do the archive this way.
Sure.
I couldn't do it,
no.
and so I have no complaint about it. I'm just simply saying, I think there's an intimacy that we're the last generation to have it, an intimacy between music and audience, and not just the audience, but also other bands.
Yeah.
I thought,
I get it.
there was a bond between bands, and other people. Personally, I'm pretty motherfucking proud of it. I really am.
I have no regrets whatsoever.
No,
No.
none.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And just, I just, had a wonderful time. And just, there was something about what we did, and I think it deserves, what we're doing, we just, this time deserves it, I think.
Yeah.
I think by all you being here, yeah, I think you kind of agree.
I'm glad
There's just one other thing I was going to say about like booking shows and getting people to the shows. I always found, being the guy who booked the shows and kind of built the set lists and stuff, I always found it really important to put together 2 or 3 bands who had very similar fan bases. So if you had, like, if it was just us, we would draw a decent crowd. But if we had us and Typhoid or us and Rogue, and we had fans who were like fans of multiple bands on the bill, you could pack that out. And so what I always tried to do was put like two bands that we knew the fans were going to be like, oh, they're playing together, I'm definitely going to that. And then I would pick bands that I liked their music, I liked the people, or I saw that they were young and needed a shot, because that's what Bill did for us. He,
Right.
He saw that we needed a shot. He'd put us on some big shows that we probably didn't deserve.
Right.
And that's kind of what I always looked for, is put a couple that would draw and then try to open up people's minds to other stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. I loved how so many of the bands just had their own kind of thing going, even though we're all part of the scene. Like when I'm thinking about all these bands right now, it's like none of them sounded alike to me.
Mhm.
I think that's special because we all had it. There was a camaraderie there, but we were all doing our own thing and had our own flair, and uh, yet we made this scene happen.
Right.
That that had kind of disintegrated into almost nothing, it seemed like, in the mid 90s, and then it just became this big thing for a while, and suddenly there's just all these bands. And I think a lot of the bands, and I think we discussed this last time, they were out there. It's just there wasn't a scene for like a number of years, and then suddenly
Right.
there were, and then all these bands came out, and it's just like, wow, it's
Okay.
it's a real thing right now.
Hey, let me interject here. Mike is here. Mike is Buzz Bomber and the M80s. When I went and saw them multiple times, I did not know them personally. And Mike and I really never really, like talked until this archive got developed. I thought Buzz Bomber and the M80s for entertainment value was the best Denver had to offer and how they went about it.
I
Personally, to
remember
me.
seeing Buzz Bomber at Cricket a couple of
Yeah.
times,
They're,
and I was being blown away. And as a matter of fact, we'd have to go back into that back room where they had them 2 pool tables squished together,
Yeah.
just so you could kind of get a break.
Right. Say just like, everyone did their own thing, but I thought in terms of entertainment value, I thought Buzz Bomber and the M80s did it the best in Denver, in my opinion. That's why Mike's here today, because I really enjoyed that band, and I just, I think they deserve mad props for what they did.
For sure. Hey, Mike, while you're here, throw out some other band names, some other bands that you played with that you really, if you can remember any.
I was in Tequila Mockingbird
Yeah, I remember those guys.
for about a year and a half maybe. I was also in another band called Vagrant Sun. Rex and I started Buck Wild.
Any bands that you played with that you were like, holy shit, these guys are awesome?
I played with Helen and the Trojans one night. I sat in with them.
Yeah.
It was Robbie Krieger and Brian Nevin from Big Head Todd.
Wow.
I sat in. Actually played trumpet for Bill Kirchen.
No
When-
shit.
when Buck Wild, we opened for Bill Kirchen at the Soiled Dove, and Bill, we were all kind of setting up our stuff, and Bill pulled out a trombone, and I jokingly said, "Well, maybe I should go home and get my trumpet." but I hadn't played in like a year. And he goes, let's go get it. And he talked me into, and I went and got up and did a song with Bill Kirchen and Too Much Fun was the name of the band. And yeah, we did a Dixieland duet, trumpet and trombone.
That's so cool.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
I played trumpet for 8 years in school, but
Did
then
you?
yeah, as soon as I graduated, I pawned it.
It's a bitch of an instrument, man.
I wish I still had it. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just threw myself into stringed instruments and the metal thing after that, and but I wish I still had my trumpet.
I was
Right.
a saxophone guy in high school. I played tenor and
Nice.
saxophone.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
The original Drudgery guitarist played sax in my high school band as well.
Oh, did he?
I saw Nuclear Assault years ago that their
Whoa.
singer played tenor saxophone.
Yep.
And I did not know that when I caught them. And when he came up to that microphone with that, I was like, you have got to be fucking kidding me.
That is
I
awesome.
let go of that piece of brass and I could be doing that shit and this at the same time.
I own a saxophone, but I could never do a damn thing with it, man.
Mhm.
Too many
I
keys.
tried. I just
Like the finger positions just blew my mind. Unlike that, all the reed instruments, I'm just like, what the fuck? That's what's so great
For me,
about
it
the
was-
trumpet. It was 3 keys.
well,
My mom is in her 70s now, and she plays in an old person's orchestra. She still plays flute to this day.
Wow.
And, yeah, it blows me away. She plays all over Iowa with all these geriatrics. It's fucking hilarious.
that's awesome.
Cool.
All righty, guys, we're getting near the wrapping point. I'm going to say one thing about the soil dove, and I'll let everybody just have one last take on whatever they want to talk about. I love the soil dove, but it seemed
yeah.
like it came and it went really quick.
It was kind of an elitist place, I always thought. I mean,
Right.
you
My-
Is that
saw,
the one on
Mike,
Market
Mike
Street?
James, did
in
you
the-
guys know anything?
yeah, it was right around Coors Field, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
19th
I
and
remember
Market.
going there because I
Right.
lived near there. I think we played there once.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
It
tell you-
definitely was a metal place.
Because I saw Buck Cherry there, and and I met that's how I met Chris Romero from Sick. And I had a great time that night, and that's actually where there was an organization. Somebody helped me out here. It was a Colorado Music Business Organization that basically had a monthly meeting at the Soil Dove. And
Yeah.
2000 yeah,
The
what was that group?
CMFA or something. Yeah, I
Right.
remember. Yeah.
Right. And that's where I actually met Maris the Great live and in person. First time 2000.
Right.
2000. But Maris, we'll talk about him come February. And I
That was
know
a
we
cool-
all
that
have.
was a really cool club. I liked playing there.
I liked
did
it. It
too.
just went. It came and it went, and I'm just kind of like, what went wrong, man?
I'll
I'd
tell
love to
a
give it a
quick,
little bit more coverage, but I got
I'll tell
nothing
a
on
quick-
it.
a quick funny story. After we got done playing there one night, Brett had pulled his van up and we were loading our gear out, and the staff was trying to eject a drunken person out of there, and they'd called the police. And the police grabbed this guy, and as Brett and I were rolling our shit out to the van, this guy took a swing at one of the officers, and these two cops took this guy to the fucking ground. And Brett and I were like, oh shit. And this guy starts screaming, my leg, my leg. And we look over, and this guy's foot is facing the opposite direction. And Brett was like, holy fuck, they broke this dude's leg. Well, they stood this guy up, and his leg went kerchunk, fell to the ground. He had a prosthetic leg.
Oh,
Suction
shit.
cup, twisted it off, and it hit the fucking ground. And me and Brett laughed so fucking hard. And those cops just stared at us like, you guys want to come along? And we're like, nope, we're just heads down. Let's get our shit and get the fuck out of here.
Mhm. Smart call. Smart
James,
call.
I just flashed back to watching fireworks from that place you had near Coors Field.
Yeah.
was one of the coolest places ever to watch fireworks from, right off Coors Field. That was cool.
Yeah, I
Oh,
saw
yeah.
Paul McCartney recently there at Coors Field.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
That was a
my
hell of a
aunt,
show, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
you showed some clips of it, Mike. It was pretty damn awesome.
He
So,
sounded, the whole band sounded remarkable. He sounded really good.